Hi everyone, welcome. I am Jason Alcott, author of The Sewing Principle. I am so glad that you're here. Today, for a moment, if you don't already know it, I want you to imagine with me that you know your passion. And I think a lot of you probably do. Maybe you've got a dream or a passion around music or the arts or writing, or maybe you've got a passion in leadership or you're passionate about a cause. My question to you, if you know that passion in your life, is how long have you known about this passion? How long have you known that this is a direction that you believe God is calling you towards in your life? Has it been days, weeks, months, years? And if you've known for a while, then this sort of may bring up the question, when is the best time to get started in the pursuit of this passion, in pursuit of God's call and purpose in your life? When is the best time? I want to tell you the truth, but you probably don't want to hear it. The best time to have started in the pursuit of your passion or in the pursuit of growing your gifts and skills, talents, and abilities was probably 5 years ago. Really, that's the honest truth, because it's going to take time for you to develop the skill set. It's going to take time for you to sow into that passion such to the point where you think that you're having the impact that you believe that you can, could, and should have. And so if you haven't actually started down that road, the best time was probably 5 years ago. In fact, the best time was really any moment before today, because you haven't sown into the pursuit of growing in that skill set, growing in that passion, and learning what it is that you need to know in order to be able to make an impact in that area of life or in that part of the world. And I'm only speaking to myself because I've done this so many times where I've put things off, where I'm going, man, if I had started down that road 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where could I be in life? What sort of impact might be happening in and through my life if I had started many years ago? Well, I'm guessing you don't have a time machine in your closet, and neither do I. So that begs the question, so when's the second best time to get started in the pursuit of your dreams, your goals, God's purpose and passion in your life? The second best time is today. Okay, but Jason, I'm too young, or I'm too old. I've missed the opportunity. It's past me. Or, I'm dealing with this particular season in my life, and, as soon as the kids get older, then I'll pursue this dream. Or, as soon as I finish college, then I'll pursue this dream. I only say these things because I said a lot of these things to myself. So keep coming. Send me the excuses that you have, because that's exactly what they are, to stop you from moving forward in the pursuit of that goal, in the pursuit of that passion, in the pursuit of that dream that God's put on your heart. I hate to say it, they are just that. They are excuses. There are always steps that you can be making in the direction of God's purpose in your life. Always steps that can be made today. And today I want to kind of address a couple of these excuses just at a really high level, and I want to normalize it, because the devil wants you to believe, and I know I don't bring up the devil often in these videos, and I don't like to over spiritualize this, but I believe the devil wants you to believe that when you're facing a challenge or an obstacle that's preventing you from moving forward in the pursuit of God's vision in your life, he wants you to believe that you're the only one facing this problem. You're the only one that is stuck in this situation, or the only one that's ever gone through something like this before, because then you feel very isolated. But think about that. With the number of people on the planet and the challenge that you're facing right now, maybe too young, ill-equipped, too old, you've missed the window, whatever it is that you're walking through, is there anybody else that has ever walked through the challenges that you're facing right now? The odds that you're the only one facing your challenge are so incredibly slim. To me, when I get that idea, when I get that picture, then I can learn from other people that have walked through similar situations. And there's so many stories that abound. And when we can learn from that, how powerful is that you're able to step through and go, well, I wasn't the only one in this situation that's found a way through it. There have been so many more. So the first one I want to look at is this idea of I'm too young or ill-equipped to follow this dream. I don't have what it takes to go after this particular dream or passion. And my answer to that is, welcome to the club. Every single person that steps out on the road in pursuit of a dream, in pursuit of God's call or purpose or mission or vision for their life, does not have what it takes to see that dream through to the fruition, to the vision that God's given them. Every single person starts exactly where they are, and every one of us starts ill-equipped, and they get to learn the skill set. They get to learn and develop and grow into that skill set. And it takes time. That's why I say, when was the best time to get started? 5 years ago, because it's going to take time for you to develop that skill set to a point such that you're going to have an impact in the direction that God's calling you to, in the skill set that God's given you, in the gifts that God's given you. It's going to take time for that to develop. You're going to have to sow into it. There's this great quote that I thought up until recently was attributed to Nelson Mandela, but apparently, according to the internet, that's up for dispute. Either way, it's a great quote. It says this: "Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's that we are powerful beyond all measure." I love that quote, because what I take from that is that God, and I believe this firmly, that God has given you everything that you need to start. Not everything that you need to finish, but everything that you need to start out in the journey of pursuing what it is that God's calling you towards, to pursue learning about leadership, to pursue that skill set, to grow and to develop into the person that God's calling you to be. He's given you everything that you need to start. So when you're telling yourself that you're ill-equipped, You're telling yourself that I'm inadequate. But the reality is that what if you actually have everything that you need to get started? Because you do. God wouldn't give you a dream if he didn't give you the opportunity to take the first step. I firmly believe that. There's a great story in the Bible about King Josiah, who actually became king of Israel when he was only 8 years old. And I think that's often talked about. And we're like, oh man, 8 years old, that seems really young to be king of a country. I'm going, man, I've got a 5-year-old right now. And if she was running a country, we'd be in a lot of trouble. But then it talks through some of the chronology of his life. So he's 8 years old and he steps into the throne. But then it was in his 8th year, so now he's 16 years old, and he actually begins to seek God's call in his life. That's what it says in the Bible, that he begins to seek God. And then in his 12th year, he starts to make some changes. And then in his 18th year on the throne, he then steps out on this journey of rebuilding the temple. They discover the book of the law, which eventually becomes a part of our Bible, right? And he's able to sort of discover more and more of God's call in his life. My question to you is, okay, so you think you might be too young, but Josiah was forced into this role, but he stepped out into this role of being king, knowing that I guess this is his call. This is who he's supposed to become. But over 18 years, it took 18 years before he actually got to the point where he was being faithful to the point to rebuild the temple, where he discovered the book of the law, was able to really turn things around, really get things dialed in. So my question to you is when you look at your purpose, when you look at your passion, what you believe God is calling you towards, have you been doing it for 18 years? And if you haven't, or if you're just getting started today, more of the purpose of this conversation is just getting started today. What could your life look like if you're faithful in the small things, in the small steps forward that God's given you 18 years from now? What kind of an impact do you think you might be able to have in your life 18 years from now or 20 years from now or whatever it is? What have I done consistently for a week? What have I done consistently for 6 months, a year? Right? Let alone 18 years. You're never too young. You're never too ill-equipped to step out on that journey. I love that story of King Josiah and all that we can learn from that. Look at, the time that he sowed into becoming the person that God called him to be, and then the impact that he had through his life. And the second one that I want to address is sort of the other flip side of the equation. Is you say, you know what, Jason, I am too old. I've missed the boat. I am not at a place where I am young enough to pursue this dream, this goal that I have in my life. And you're expecting me to say, no, you're never too old to pursue your dreams and goals. Well, hold on a second. If your dream is to play in the NBA and you're over the age of 40, I don't want to be the one to break it to you, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore. But I just say, you know what, you've got a passion for basketball, then so be it. But let's look at that. What kind of impact do you think you can still have around your passion for that sport? Can you then impact people through the teams that you can play on as a player? Or are you being equipped to be a coach? Because the opportunity for a coach to sow into the lives of young people is so powerful. We look at sports and these coaches and the way that they impact their players' lives, not just on the court, but off the court. So maybe the NBA isn't it, but what does that mean in God's call in your life, in your purpose, in your passion? I would never give up on those goals and dreams, just that maybe you need to adjust the goals and dreams to where you are in life and what God wants to do in and through you in that passion. God wants to have an impact in and through your life. He doesn't want you to win an NBA championship. He wants to be able to have an impact in and through your life through what you could do in basketball. This is just one example. We like to glorify these stories of these young, CEOs, people that started a nonprofit that impacts the world at 18 years old. And of course, there's always going to be those stories. But I love the stories of people that have committed to be lifelong learners. I love the stories of people that have committed to pursue their dreams or passions, maybe quote unquote later in life. They've made a career switch or whatever it is. We hear these great stories. Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his first starring role until his early 40s. I think he was 43. Ray Kroc, we talked about here in a couple of these videos ago, very instrumental, obviously, in the growth of McDonald's. Didn't get started in that journey with McDonald's until he was in his early 50s. And I read this other thing briefly that I just want to mention to you in case you're sitting there going, well, I'm too old and it's going to take me X number of years to get up to speed in this particular area of my passion or my goal. So maybe you got to go back to school or you got to get a different certification, or it's just going to take you a while to learn the skill set that's required for you to sort of have an impact in that passion in your life. I read this thing and it's like, okay, so if you're 32 now and it's going to take you 4 years to go to school to get to that point, if you don't start today, how old will you be in 4 years? You'll still be 36 years old, regardless of whether or not you started today or you start in another 4 years and then you'll be 40. When I think about that logically, it makes a lot more sense for me to step out on that journey today, doesn't it? I don't think there's ever that point of being too late where you can't have an impact anymore. It's a desire to continue to want to learn and to grow and to sow into what it is that God has for you and be open to His word in your life in the direction that He wants to take you. And that brings us down to that first step. What's that first step that's going to allow you to move forward in the pursuit of that goal or dream? To allow you to win the the first day. Win the day, the first day. And then we'll think about tomorrow. Let's win today in the pursuit of your goal or dream or God's passion and call in your life. What it is that he's equipped you to go after. I promise you that that first step is there. It's right in front of you. God's given you everything that you need to take it. Now you just need the opportunity to go and take it. And here's your opportunity. I'm asking you to go, step out in the pursuit of that goal or dream. Take that first step. Learn. Grow, connect with a mentor, whatever it is that you know you need to do, pray into it. I'm super excited about the call that God has in your life and your pursuit of it. I hope you have an absolutely blessed rest of your day, and I look forward to sharing with you again next week.